Dude, I'm off screen because I might puke. It's the season finale.
Here we are. Whew. Technical difficulties. Tried logging in. Chrome's like, you got to update. Super fun. Off to a banging start today.
How are you?
Season finale. I'm tired. Got home late last night and in from Chicago. We went little quick family getaway for a couple of days before Milo starts school back up.
Nice.
You know what's really funny? I love that you wore that. Carrie yesterday said you guys should put on dress up with bow ties and whatever else. And I was like, Rick would never do that. and
do you see I got the Yaklin hat?
What? You got a flat cap on? What's up with that? Oh, you're
Wasn't that mandatory at your wedding?
Wearing flat caps?
Yeah.
No, your big bushy froze all over the place, so clearly that didn't happen.
That's a good point. Everyone thinks I'm bald, by the way. I am not bald. I have a full set of hair. I would take off my hat to show, but it's gonna mess up my headphones. I'm doing it because then they're gonna be like, it's not good. I'm not saying it's good hair. Hold on, now my headphones are wacky. Are we back?
Oh, did you do it? Did you make it?
I think we're back.
Oh, you froze. Actually, I couldn't see you take your hat off.
So here's the thing. So only one of us, I'm the only one that's going to be able to play the speeches.
Okay.
But
I don't like that power.
I know. Give me a timeout when you want me to stop or whatever. So today's episode is going to be our best man speeches. You and I have not listened to yours. I don't know how long. 15 years.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think we listened to the whole thing at that time.
No. I think we punched our clock out when.
I gotta be honest. I'm nervous about it.
I'm nervous too.
Because I'm tired. My brain's not clicking right now, and I am not going to be smooth enough to apologize for what I know is in here.
And I can't believe we have to say this. And it is shocking. When I called you 2 days ago, I just spot checked the audio. And the thing that you said, could get us canceled. So we may have to turn that off. But the fact that I am saying there's a line in your speech, your best man speech, that may get us canceled.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome.
We may have to cut it out.
We may. And when you called me to tell me what you spot checked, what were you doing?
Oh my God. I was tears. I was laughing so hard because the one line, I was just spot checking the audio just to make sure that the levels were right. And the one line you said, and it came out with no context or anything. So I don't even know what you're talking about there.
Don't remember.
But it's definitely not something you're supposed to say at a wedding.
So to that point, Carrie, we were on a drive back and I was talking to her and I told her about the thing that you called me about and you were crying in tears about.
Crying and laughing.
And she said, yeah, I'm not listening to that podcast. And I was like, I get it. I'm not requesting that you do, but she flat out said, she goes, it was a terrible speech, right? And I was like, what? I was like, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to talk about that. So
wait, yours or mine?
Mine. So that it made me that much more nervous. I was like, cringe.
Gigi told you and me she's not listening to this.
She did.
And she's faithful. That's how awesome my wife is. She'll listen to anything we do.
Oh man! So both of our wives are out for anything that is about to play out today.
Well, here's the problem. And I can't tell you how angry I am at the videographer.
Oh, here we go.
He doesn't have the beginning of the speech. It kind of just starts, and then evidently he switched tapes in the middle of the speech. So think about that.
Sure.
Your whole job is to film weddings, right? And you're like, I'm going to wait until the tape runs out during the speeches, right? And so this person's just like, yeah, I got enough tape for all these speeches. And then he switches tape in the middle. So there's part of yours that's cut out. So kind of just starts.
Boo. Anyway,
yeah, it is boo.
So,
All right.
so a couple items on that. I didn't pay for a videographer at our wedding. We had to cut costs somewhere, so we did not. We should just cue that up because there is some video associated with my speech at your wedding. There is none and nobody had cell phone cameras on their cell phones at that time because we're old. I want to apologize in advance for anything that I said. I'm dreading this. I
am too. I'm a little nervous.
I wore a Detroit hoodie today because I felt like this is going to be like a battle between Detroit and wherever you claim you're from these days.
Yeah, you want to know? Shut up. You want to know what's funny? I had what I was wearing, and I decided to change because I was like, "This is more fitting for you." I have a Miami Dolphins captain's hat, and I have a Detroit Lions captain hat. And I was going to, between the speeches, I was going to switch them because I can't tell you. And I'm talking to you, Scott. Look at me. Look here, Scott. Look here. And you too, Tim Kaplan.
Yeah. I was wondering how long it was going to be before you mentioned Tim.
Oh, Tim. The divide between us right now, Tim. I'm coming after
brilliant.
you.
I love it. Keep it up.
All right,
fellas.
So of all the podcasts we've done, well, before we do that, I want to promote two things just before we go. One, if you haven't watched Simple Man, Steve Trevino's Netflix special that we did this year, please watch it. And the second thing I want to promote that we have is How I Caught My Killer on Hulu, which was number 2 on Hulu, which is big. And Trevino is number 2 on Netflix. So this year I had a number 2 on Netflix and a number 2 on Hulu. So go watch those. And that's it. That was my promotion. I'm done promoting.
I'd like to promote henna hats. With that,
but you're just trying to do that to get them for free.
Well, what are you doing?
The show's already done.
My hat's already on my head.
All right. So last week's podcast.
Yeah.
First of all, it may be our best podcast, and it angers me to say that because one of our old friends, I want to say his name. I don't know. Like he was DM'd me, so I don't know if I should say his name just because. Sure. I'll say Bill, our old friend Bill, texted me and he said, "Eric is such a good storyteller," and that crushed my soul. What I will say is, you methodically went through that story, and the DMs and the comments we're getting, and like Jenny Sis when she wrote about the radioactive boy. Did you know?
I didn't read it.
Did you know that story?
I was out. I didn't read it. No, I don't know the story. I vaguely had a vague recollection of it when she mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I got to read that." But I literally got home super late, so I didn't have time to read it.
It is fascinating. So if you don't know, go into one of our comment sections. Jenny uploaded this article. It is awesome. Would make a great podcast guest.
Wow.
But what you did really well was systematically go through your story. And I enjoyed it. And it was funny because my mom and my wife were like, I didn't know all those details. Sure. And it was good. It was good how you did it.
Thanks.
It was really well done.
I've received a few messages, some comments, but some DMs, some text messages, or I'm in text groups with my family, or there have been multiple comments about that it was a fun storytelling. It was very flattering, very cool to hear, because I don't consider myself a storyteller, but I try.
Oh, I don't consider you that either.
Exactly. But trust me, I noticed
I'm kidding.
I noticed
you are.
how many of my stutterings you left in there, and how many
only because I can't take them out.
See,
believe you me.
Oh yeah,
I try. Do you want to see the original?
I think.
Do you want to see the original?
No, I know you edited some, but I think if
here's
it was you would have cleaned it up even more.
I saved the audience at least 15 minutes of you coughing or clearing your throat or going And by the way, I'm going to keep calling you out because I'm getting so called out on how I say things and how I slur words and stuff to this day. And I delete those videos. So keep them coming. I'm going to keep deleting them. Or comments. I shouldn't say videos.
Comments. Yeah. No, I also received, or actually I've promoted on multiple occasions that where compliments have come in about the episode, that you get credit as much as I hate to give it. You get huge credit for showing up because you weren't feeling well, and your additions to the whole thing were fantastic. So you're chiming in. You and I had discussed. You were very concerned about. You almost wanted to have another guest on, right? At certain
I did
points,
want to have another guest
to be able to get reactions and different questions because you already knew the story.
Yeah.
And so
I knew the story.
Yeah.
And when someone's hearing it for the first time, just think of yourself when you're listening to it for the first time, you have questions and you want to jump in. So
Right.
when we were driving with John Moss and you told the story, it was one of the hardest I've ever laughed. At certainly at this age,
Right.
when he was jumping in. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, that guy's really funny and
Yeah.
a comedic writer,
Yeah.
and so he's and the way his brain works.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so entertaining that we needed a third person because I know the story.
Right.
However,
Yeah.
that all said, I didn't know the detail. You've never shared
No.
those details
Yeah.
across the board,
Right. No, never. It was the most comprehensive retelling I've ever done, right? Of collecting information and then just trying to mentally prepare, right? In some way, shape, or form, give it a little bit of structure or whatever. So to that point, so it's been great to see like this, outpouring of comments and people reaching out and asking questions or thing I thought was fascinating. There have been numerous occasions of like, oh, I remember this differently. I remember this differently. The different aspects, different pieces of the story. And, oh, I thought, this happened with a friend, or I thought this, all sorts of different things. So it's just been really, really fun to see. I was the one thing I was disappointed in was, and you and I touched on this. I think acts 5 and 6 fell flat a little bit. I think 5 just didn't have a lot of action or oomph, you know what I mean? Is a lot of the, in the courtroom, or, and it's very timeline based or the whole thing. And 6, I gotta be honest, like, I think you and I were just done at that point. We've been recording for over 3 hours. You were sick. I was tired. My voice was gone. It wasn't a very fun exploration to really put an exclamation point on the whole thing. That I maybe we'll revisit at some point or something along those lines. But there was, going through and listening to it, those were the 2 parts that I was like, other than hating hearing myself talk and how many times I say all sorts of things, I'm not even going to repeat them. I was having difficulty re-listening to the whole thing, but
no one calls you out on that.
No, it's not true. I got called out on.
Did you?
My wife started. Actually, to be fair, I brought it up. I brought it up first. I and said, I can't even hardly listen to this. I didn't realize it was this bad. But the other thing I'll say too, she actually said I was pretty happy with how it played out. Of course, you get a lot of credit for the editing of how that went. I was pleased with the telling of the story in the sense that most of it didn't feel like I was reading my bullet points or going through my notes or going through it. Felt I thought it came across as it felt pretty off the cuff, and that's what I was going for. But I
agree with that.
But it wasn't, because I was cramming like I was in college for finals again, like the night before, trying to hurry up and put all the details together because I wanted to be good and take the time. Anyway, I was happy with it overall. I'm glad people have enjoyed it.
All right. I feel like we're stalling.
Ooh, you think that's what's happening?
I do want to give.
Hold on.
I keep wiping my hands. I think
someone's nervous.
I'm nervous.
I know. You already said the cringe factor. Hold on, just to close the loop on the last conversation about last week's podcast. I did want to throw out there. I did want to mention I got an amazing, fantastic direct text from Donnie P and other direct, like Mike Andrews reached out. There were multiple people that reached out, and sent really great messages. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them and thank them for that. So it's cool. It meant a lot. So on to
sweaty palms. I got that pit in my stomach because I know from my perspective, like I said, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and this was my opportunity. This was my America's Got Talent moment at your wedding. So, oh my God, I'm nervous. All right, so who got married first?
You got married first, so I spoke at your wedding first, and I have to say,
I honestly don't know if I can do this, dude.
We're going to find out. Here's the thing. Worst case scenario is we scrap all this and we go, end of season 1. We're done.
Yeah.
No, we have to. We've alluded to it too many times, and it's too fun to not try. But we just gotta look. I don't even get to control it. So we talked about like I'm gonna I'm just rolling with it, and we're gonna see where it goes. I don't like that I'm going first. I don't like that at all.
I seriously, I just stopped because like I might throw up. Dude, I got that lump in my throat before you. Dude,
it's the nervous adrenaline.
I don't know if I can do this. I literally don't know if I can hit play. You're up first, so I can hit play for this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
I want
to know. What is it you think you're so nervous about? What are you scared of? Especially with my speech.
Well, with yours, I'm worried we're gonna get canceled.
But you can edit some of that stuff out. But
I think we're gonna have to.
We probably are. I don't know.
Oh God damn it, dude! I'm more nervous than actually giving the speech.
So can I throw out a couple things about that? So just a little bit of the setup. So you at your wedding, you actually let John Wynn speak before me. Right. So I don't know.
Who is a stand-up comedian.
So that part in itself like set me like super nervous. I was like, oh yeah, seriously, I gotta follow a comedian at the wedding.
Great public speaker, really charismatic, really funny.
Yeah, exactly.
And then next up, Eric Yacklin. Closing for John.
Wah, wah, wah. There was like a trombone in the background. Closing for John. And then also, and I just want to bring it up because before we get to it, at my wedding with your speech, I remember you telling me you actually on the spot edited and eliminated things out of your speech because you followed another friend, Dave. So Dave got up and he did a speech at my wedding, but his was very sentimental and very like whatever. Yeah. And I think
what a wedding speech should be.
And the contrast, the juxtaposition of the two next to one another. You're like, I can't say this and this and this and this. And you pulled a whole bunch of stuff out, but which you don't have record of anymore. But I remember you telling me that you were like, oh yeah, I eliminated a bunch of stuff because it just wasn't going to be okay. In
all honesty, that the morning of your wedding, I must have had 30-minute speech. In all honesty, like I timed it out, and I mean maybe it was like 26 minutes or something like that. But I was like, no one's going to sit and listen to this for 26 minutes. But I think that there's like a weight of giving that best man speech because it's going to live on forever.
For sure.
I wanted to properly do it. I didn't have the right mindset of the sentimental side, but
well, I love the fact that even when you referenced it before and the fact that you got booed, you referenced our guests as the audience. So that tells you right there where your mentality is at with the best man speech.
Yeah. All right. Ground rules. All right. Here's the ground rules. Yeah. So I'll watch you. While we do it, give me a timeout if you want me to stop. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're trying this for the first time, playing the media like this. Let's see what happens.
Years. And
okay, so right out of the gate, you can hear it.
Yeah, but there's music underneath.
I know. The
entire time.
There's music. I don't know. I didn't listen to the whole thing. There's music behind it, and do you see how it just all of a sudden just comes in?
Yes.
All right. You ready? Let me see if I can rewind.
I'm not.
All right. Eric Yacklin's best man wedding speech.
Wait.
Years.
Wait, also
time out.
Also, this was 2008. So it's 16 years ago. Actually, yesterday was Carrie and I's 16th anniversary. So just yesterday. And
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
This is our gift to her
that she won't listen to. So I would like to say 16 years ago, it was a different time, but I don't know if that's really true.
All I know is anyone listening, when is the last time your hands literally started sweating? Like nervous. Here we go.
And if there's anyone here who's feeling a little bit nervous, maybe apprehensive, and maybe even a little bit queasy this evening, it's probably because you either need to give a best man speech or your last name just became Sikowski.
Oh! Wait, what? Come on, that's not bad. It's not a bad open. It's not too bad.
No, it's not a bad
It's
open,
not a bad
but I'm
open.
sorry. I was thinking something. So that's the problem with not listening to these beforehand. I thought you were going somewhere else with that, but all right. Here we go. That's not a bad opening line.
I'm going to try and keep this informative, so if it's not funny, you can at least compliment me on its content. And
and there's your laugh.
I'm laughing.
I know some of you here may not know Rick very well. That's okay, because I know him very well, and I'm guessing that by the end of this speech, you probably won't want to know him at all. Let me be the first to congratulate the two of you.
It's a roast.
It is a roast. Yeah, you're 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And we're going to get further. But yes, and again, this goes to like the context about the mindset. Like I definitely tried to fit in some of the emotional stuff that's in there, but yeah, it was the one opportunity in front of lots of people to just roast. So
I get it. I'm sure that's what mine's going to be with you, but not bad so far.
It's not a bad open.
There's only
oh yeah
11 and a half more minutes left, but
Let me be the first to congratulate the two of you on your 1.5 hour anniversary. Could we give a round of applause for the 1.5 hour anniversary? And Rick, no, internal fear is not an acceptable 1.5 hour anniversary gift. And for those of you who have
internal fear is not an acceptable 1.5 hour anniversary gift. Come on, that's brilliant. Brilliant.
it's something.
And for those of you who have bets on less than an hour and a half, you can give the money to my dad. He's sitting over there. And Dad, you can go ahead and put your money in, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And Rick, you can give me your money later.
This is all divorce. You think we're going to get divorced an hour and a half in?
That wasn't something I actually thought, but I thought it'd be funny to bring it up in this best man speech. People were taking bets, and my dad was the collector, and I just threw my dad under the bus that he didn't think you guys would be there.
I know. Mr. Yacklin, give me a call. I love the fact that your parents came to Florida, though, for the wedding.
Of course. You grew up in our house.
Yeah.
They love you.
Yeah.
And Dad, you can go ahead and put your money in, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And Rick, you can give me your money later.
Oh my God.
I'm doing a speech. You should probably stay here for that. And
That's not bad. And by the way, if there was real money involved, I would not be married.
And speaking of bets, my dad's also collecting the money for the how long will the best man speech be? And you can probably just go ahead and give it all to him now, because I am gonna clean up. I'm doing really good.
I'm doing really good.
None of you know this, but Rick actually told me if my speech wasn't 15 minutes long, I wasn't doing my job as the best man, so you guys are in trouble. Your money's over there. So,
We're 2 minutes in. But it did remind me, and we could talk about this afterwards, remind me about the gifts getting stolen at my wedding. We'll talk about that later.
I forgot about that.
I was trying to figure out a way to describe Rick, and kind of like John, I went to the Webster's Dictionary and I was looking through, some words and definitions, and I looked up things like, like love and loyalty and relationship, maybe commitment, perseverance, dedication. Looked at all that stuff, and I thought to myself, I'm supposed to be describing him, so kind of went a whole different route with that. And so at this point, I'd like to give you Webster's
The fact that you're laughing now, brilliant.
definition for the word idiot. An idiot, in psychology terms, is a person of the lowest order in a former classification of mental retardation.
That's where that line. That's where the line came. Right, that's what I thought we were going to get canceled for.
So okay, pause. So that, but but we can leave that one in. It's actually
we can leave it in. It's an actual definition.
So this is
killing the pullback of the curtain.
Yes, pull it back.
All right, so I wanted to spot check just to hear if the audio was coming through, and evidently I clicked on 2 minutes 26 seconds to hear the audio, and it was the line that you just gave, the mental retardation.
Is the only thing that you heard.
I started laughing because I was like, we're gonna get canceled. And the tears, because I had no idea what you're talking about.
Same.
So I had tears strolling down, and I had to call you.
Oh, that's what he called. And when you called, I couldn't tell. I got nervous for a second. I couldn't tell if you were crying or you were laughing. I was like, oh man, was you get my point if you were upset or not. And that's for a hot second, I had to be like, oh no, it's something really bad happened.
I couldn't even talk. I just think about, you haven't heard this speech since basically we were married, and the first line I click on is mental retardation.
Oh, I was laughing really hard when that happened. But hey, it's in the definition.
But it's in the
definition.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we got back.
Escapades from the past and whatnot. But then I'm looking through the list.
Oh, that's the jump.
And
no, I don't.
That's. Well, we definitely just skipped. I don't know what we just skipped over.
Yeah, maybe that was a jump. I don't know.
That was a definite jump.
I hate our videographer. If anyone remembers who our videographer's name was, please give it to me.
Having escapades from the past and whatnot. But then I'm looking through the list, and it came to me that Rick's actually going to be the best man at my wedding in just a few months, which means he's going to have the last word with a microphone and amplification in front of a captive audience. And so these stories, most of which Rick would not want me to share, and all of which Gigi would not want me to share.
This is even truer.
I'm not going to be able to share. And it's tragic, really. But I was thinking maybe I should just read through the list and see if there's anything I can talk about here.
Boy.
And let's see.
We're probably 5 minutes in, not one nice thing about me, which was ammunition. So I say that because I don't know if I say one nice thing about you through your
Agreed. I vaguely remember what's coming up, which was I'm going to list out some of the things that were real things that I can't actually talk about with the group. Real things real things that happened that I can I'm going to reference, but I can't actually talk about.
I even got more nervous now. I was doing fine.
We had that time we argued about whether or not fish have lips. That's probably no. We had the reason we can never go back to Thailand. That's no. You wake up one time next to 3 dead locals, and all of a sudden everybody wants to see your passport. Can't talk about that. There was that.
Look to point out, none of that happened.
None of that happened. Well, maybe
one time we made the bet.
Maybe we're gonna get to some real things. Maybe I tried to sneak in a couple real things here.
That's smart. If there's some real things coming out, because then there's plausible deniability.
Can't talk about that. There was that one time we made the bet about the Banaka breath spray.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
It's true. It's very true, and not a story that's gonna get told.
I'm on the fence of just naming body parts where you don't want to spray Banaka. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
And you were right. I was wrong. It does burn.
One time in Vegas. Can't go back there either.
So I was living in Vegas right before this, so it's good. Let me rewind that.
Go back there either. Wake up one time.
Call back.
There's that message you left on my parents' answering machine.
What?
It was
the message you left on my parents' answering machine. That's real. That's
right.
real.
Is this when I was just like,
F-bombing it up.
Storm.
F-bombing
Right.
it up. You thought you called my cell
Oh,
phone.
I thought I called your cell phone, and I'm just like, F this, F that, F the world.
You were
blah,
mad
blah,
at
blah.
me for not
And
answering
then
the
you
phone.
pick up, and you're like Rick, and I was like, how'd you do that on your cell phone? I
How'd
didn't
you
know
pick
when you're
up
leaving
your-
a message, and you're like, this is my parents' phone.
And they were there. They
They were
overheard
there.
They
They were
overheard
there.
the whole thing.
I could tell they were there by the way you were like, Rick.
I totally forgot about that happened until this moment right now.
Yep, I agree with that. I forgot about that too.
Oh boy.
That was my voicemail. That's just not even child friendly. I can't talk about that.
That's true.
Let's see. It was how the vast majority of the time, the more drinks you have in you, the less clothes you keep on.
That unfortunately is true too. Not anymore, by the way. Now they're just drunk texts. Go back and listen to the TJ Lockridge story.
Oh boy, I kind of honestly forgot about that too. It's absolutely true. We have photographic
photos.
evidence. Yeah, we have photographic evidence.
We have photos that will never see the light of day.
More drinks you have, the less clothes. Oh boy, forgot about that.
I shouldn't even bring that up, really. And Gigi, you're making sure he's pacing himself right. He's left cameras, let's see. Here's one I can talk about. This kind of proves my point a little bit. When Rick called me when he first got engaged, and he told me about it. I was like, wow, that's really great. Did you pick a date? And he paused for a second. He was on the phone.
I know where this is going, and I just want to apologize in advance.
Oh, really?
We'll get to it. You go through it. Go through it,
I'm
and
gonna
then
bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, go through it
Systematically,
and then we're gonna pause it.
Got engaged, and he told me about it. I was like, wow, that's really great. Did you pick a date? And he paused for a second. He was on the phone, so it was a little bit weird. And he's like, wow, really? I could bring a date to my own wedding? Buddy.
That's funny. That's a funny line.
Buddy, work with me here.
Hey, friend.
Another thing I can talk about is when they first met. And I was actually living with Rick at the time, and I can honestly say it was the most nervous I've ever seen him in my entire life. You know, when they first met, and he's normally a laid-back guy, easygoing, and for whatever reason he wouldn't stop like walking around whining like a little girl, and it was amazing. I'd hear things like, I don't know, should I call her? And should I ask her out? And
that's true.
Things like, does this skirt look good on me? And my personal favorite was, I think I'm going to puke because he's so nervous.
That's true too.
That is true.
But before,
I mean, she was out of my league.
Wait! Before you get all that's completely legitimate. So I know we said that while it was just playing, but it was you were a mess, man.
I was a mess.
You were like,
she was out of my league.
Yeah, super like, oh, she's gonna figure it out. She's gonna find out. She's gonna like, I can't, whatever. So, which is it's fun now,
dude. I don't know if I've ever said that. Like her dad's from Italy, mom's from Cuba. She speaks 4 languages fluently, and just like. I could never figure her out, even to this day. Like, there's certain things I just like. I'm impressed with her, like the way her mind works and all this stuff. Coupled with like the beginning of a relationship, is nervous and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's gonna find out who I really am.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna work. And
yeah, trust me, she hasn't figured you out either.
No, I keep her guessing.
Where it was, I think I'm gonna puke because he's so nervous, about a zillion times. But before Rick met Gigi, I used to hear all sorts of jokes about divorce and getting divorced and all that kind of stuff. And my personal favorite of that was when he explained to me that when people have a fear, they're supposed to face that fear. They're supposed to go through it many times. And he figured divorce was no different. So maybe if he went through it 5 or 6 times, then it would be okay. And it's bad.
It's bad. This was the thing.
4 times you mentioned divorce.
This was the one I was apologizing for in advance. I didn't know before when we paused. I said I apologize. So
got it.
You, yes. That was a real thing, by the way. That literally
No,
happened.
I know. I had a.
We were out
I
on
had
the
a fear
balcony
of divorce.
There was that, but on the balcony, you literally made that joke to me that you're 100% on in North Bay Landing on the balcony out there. We were talking about it. You made that joke to me.
I'm going to go through it.
Yes, you're like, well, it's probably like any other fair. You got to go through it a few times before you're good with it or whatever. I was like, and it made me laugh. It's a terrible divorce joke, but I brought it up and fell flat. I think you laughed at the cringe factor
5 or 6 times, and it could be okay.
I'm laughing.
It's bad. It's a joke. But a very interesting thing happened though. Like right after I met Gigi, all the jokes stopped, and it took me this very short while, but I figured it out. And it was because he knew right away that he had found something special, and he didn't want to screw it up in typical Rick fashion. And frankly, with your track record, I would have been a bit nervous too.
Just keep them coming.
Yeah, I did have a track record. I apologize to everyone before Gigi.
But the good news is we're here. You didn't screw it up. Everything's so far so good, right? So far so good. So I decided that I would give you a little bit of advice. And since I'm not married myself just yet, I had to go to the internet, pull down some good information. And I went and picked out, made you a top 5 list of advice for that I thought you would appreciate for marriage, quotes, relationships.
I love quotes.
Number 5, a happy home is one which each spouse grants the possibility that the other may be right, though neither believes it. Number 4,
waka.
Marriage is give and take. You'd better give it to her or she'll take it anyway. Number 3, there are 3 kinds of men who do not understand women: young, old, and middle-aged. Number 2.
That's not bad.
Number 2, this is an important one. The best way to remember your anniversary is to forget it once. Number 1.
There's a
and the number
theme
1.
here.
Number 1. A married man should forget his mistakes. There's no use 2 people remembering the same thing.
So when we went to Puerto Rico, I did not forget my wife's anniversary. In fact, for her birth date on the ticket, I wrote our anniversary. She couldn't get on the plane. And you want to know how much of an asshole I am? This is me pulling back the curtain on how much of a jerk I really am. So I travel a lot for work, right? So I have a way of doing things. I have an order, everything. And I have a way. So I have pre-check, I have clear, I have my tickets and stuff. She doesn't have pre-check. So she goes over there and I go over here in the airport. And so I don't even know that there's a problem until I'm already past, just sitting, relaxing and stuff. And she's like, I can't get through. She's like, I'm like, why? She's like, because you put our anniversary as my birthday.
So, the fact is standing up here, and the fact that I've known Rick for 20 years and seen a lot of the stuff that he's done, I personally often, and maybe it's just because of our past, I have trouble giving him credit sometimes for some of the stuff that he does.
Still true.
But I think it's for good reason.
Good reason.
I have a really hard time giving credit to a man that prefers a lavender chamomile fizzing bubble bath over a shower.
Still true.
Still true. Why is that bad? Tell me why that's bad. Soaking in a lavender bomb.
I'm just saying.
Bath,
this
awesome.
is just my take on why I have difficulty giving you credit for things. That's all.
How many times have you called me and I'm in the bathtub?
Too many. Way too many.
I have trouble giving credit to a guy that pretty much stores everything he owns wherever he set it down last. And a guy
That used to be
has
true.
over 2,100
That's true. And now I'm a clean freak now.
Well, your OCD
I don't know
took
what
over.
I am I don't know what it like. I have to be clean.
Yeah, you're bent out of
It's not
shape.
good.
It's just
But
your OCD is strong these days.
But I don't know if it's OCD. It is OCD, but like I don't have to like clean the same spot 3 times. It just, everything has to have a place and an order and all that stuff. Well, it's funny to go back because I used to be like that. Yeah, wherever it was.
Yeah.
And a guy that has over 2,100 emails in his inbox. Guy that cries every time when he hears the Disney song.
Okay, in fairness, go right now and listen to When You Wish Upon a Star and tell me you're not going to tear up a little bit.
This is true. This one,
I can only listen to that song one time a year. We talked about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
You wish upon a star. If you think I'm kidding, that's on your stores.
Let me rewind it back.
Wherever he set it down last.
I didn't know you actually said the name. Sorry.
Guy that has over 2,100 emails in his inbox. Guy that cries every time when he hears the Disney song. When You Wish Upon a Star. If you think I'm kidding, that's on your CD. Play it. The Waterworks. Just.
Oh, right. Ridiculous. Right. We gave CDs out, and that's on there. All the songs that mean something to us, and I don't have a copy of that because of When You Wish Upon a Star. Like it. Just go listen to it. Go stop this podcast and go listen to that song, and then come back with the tears in your eyes.
It's ridiculous. It's really hard for me to give credit to a guy that keeps loose change in his wallet right next to his bills.
That's still true.
Regardless of the fact that sometimes he can't close his wallet.
Still true.
Can we break that down? How messed up that is? I can't stand that. That's always been true.
I have more change in my wallet nowadays than I do bills because I don't carry bills. And I've refused to take them out of my wallet.
Why do you have change? Oh, God.
I can't tell you how many times I pull my wallet out and the change spills out. I don't know why I do it.
Listeners, I have this vivid visual of you. I mean, this is from 20, 30 years ago now, of you just opening up your wallet and taking your handful of change and just dumping it into your wallet and folding it up and sticking it back in your pocket. It drove me nuts. I can't even tell. Listener,
I don't know why
I need to know if there's anyone that puts change, anyone that has a wallet that puts change in their wallet. Not like a little purse with a zipper. We're talking about a regular wallet.
If I have my wallet here, I could make it rain with pennies right now.
It's messed up. It's so messed up.
Regardless of the fact that sometimes he can't close his wallet, and every time he pulls it out, change falls on the floor. And apparently, it works for him though. It's hard for me to give credit to a guy that has more pictures of his cats on his iPhone than anything else.
Well, I didn't have kids at the time. I didn't have kids at the time.
I love that you're defending yourself now. It doesn't make it untrue.
Guy that keeps his high school yearbook within reach almost at all times.
That's dirty.
Can we talk
We're
about
cutting
that?
We're cutting this whole section out.
No, we're not.
Dirty.
No, we're not.
Dirty.
Can we talk about that? Listen,
there was a moment in time.
We've talked about this previously in the podcast that you absolutely were obsessed with the high school years. You were obsessed with them. For a very long
I was
time.
Physically fit back then.
For a very long time, you had said they were the best years of your life.
It made me feel like Al Bundy, where I was like that. I scored 4 touchdowns in one game. You know, like it just. And I would always be like, I don't know. I that's probably for another podcast for another day.
It goes pretty deep, probably.
You gotta let it go, buddy. We're not gonna get back in shape like that. Just let it go.
Gotta let it go.
It's not gonna happen. It's hard for me to give credit to a guy who dunks and holds his cookies in milk before he eats them. Who does that nowadays? Nobody.
That's real.
You make that sound like that's weird.
That's real.
It's 100% real. Who doesn't do that?
Do you still do that?
You're making it sound that dunking cookies in milk and then eating it is weird.
You're the only person I've ever physically seen on the planet have a glass of milk and hold your cookie in your milk. We're gonna need to do a poll and hold your cookie in milk like an Oreo, right, or something like that. Just hold it in milk for an elongated period of time.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
To eat it,
cookies and milk.
We'll just do a poll. We'll let the listeners chime in. Let us know if you hold.
The first image that comes up is a person dunking it You're making it sound like this is a weird thing.
I'm just saying you're the only person I've ever literally seen in my life that would intentionally poured a glass of milk just to hold the cookie under, like you're trying to drown it, under the surface for a little bit before you shake it off, then eat it.
All right, back to the speech.
Guy who his favorite comedic line of all time is, and I quote, "Waka waka waka."
There it is.
Still using
Yes.
And lastly,
Fozzie Bear was
came up on this podcast.
line of all time is, and I quote, "Waka waka waka." And lastly, the thing I have the most trouble with is, to give credit to him, is a guy who has named his stomach. And
Leon.
to which I have to say, Leon, I'm sorry for doubting your magical womanizing powers. I was wrong, you were right. But all that said,
so that was a real thing. So
that was a real thing.
You were super skinny your entire life, and then when you finally started to get a little bit of a belly, and it was like notable, that you gave it a name because it was it was like this separate entity, and
it was my split personality. I'm still thin. Leon
is out of control.
I can't control Leon.
It's so brilliant. Anyway, I had to bring it up, and I'm sorry I doubted the Leon's womanizing capabilities.
it's really easy for me to give credit to you on this particular day, your wedding day. I know you better. I know better than anyone that you've made some bad decisions, and you made some really bad decisions. But this isn't one of them. And you're a great guy, a great friend. You better be a great husband, and you've made everyone who knows you very proud. Not just with your ability to find an amazing wife, but with everything you've accomplished. And I'm honored to stand here today and give this toast. Could everybody grab a glass and raise their glasses? Rick and Gigi, may you both live as long as you want and never want as long as you live. Give here.
So, all right. So that's your speech. How do you feel about
This
it?
is I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with yours. Like, honestly, in all honesty,
it could have been way worse.
I thought, because I haven't listened to this, I thought it was going to be bad. It was not bad. It was not bad.
You were laughing, and there were genuine laughs. There
was genuine laughs, and I'll say this: if you would have had a little, and you're nervous, so but if you would have had a little bit more confidence, if you had more confidence in your deliveries, it would have been a brilliant speech overall. That
was my first best man speech. So every the other ones that I did was after that.
It really is hard.
It is hard, and
because it's not about you, the person giving the speech.
Yeah,
and that's where I made the mistake. I made it about me.
If I had it to do over again, I mean, I clearly tried to just make it fun or funny, and I made the joke
because that's who we are.
It is who we are, and I think we would. You and I would appreciate that. Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that. Like if you got up there and said, you're such a good friend,
right?
Who cares?
Yeah, sentimental.
Who cares? That's not
it
us.
Wouldn't be on a podcast.
Certainly wouldn't be in a
16
podcast.
years later.
Should we stop the podcast now? We've been doing this for a while. We can stop the podcast now.
Just call it a day. That was it. That is not the end of season 1 that we are going for, my friend. That is not it.
Dude, I honestly don't know if I can do this.
I think it sounds like you're going to throw up.
I got that thing in my throat again. You heard me stop.
I can hear it.
If I talk, I can't do. Dude, I'm so nervous, man. Don't make me do this.
You have to do it. You have to hold up your end. Why are you so? Dude,
first of all, I don't know how long mine is.
I do. It's 10.5 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, no. We can make 10.5 minutes. Ready?
Yes, but you guys stop it when I say stop. Make sure the level's good.
Hello? Hello? Oh, you actually have like a real person doing audio.
I have
and
a
stuff.
board feed.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I have the asshole videographer in the next room, probably outdoors, like smoking a cigarette while this thing's going on.
Mine's a board feed. Shout out to my buddy Glenn Preston, who I love dearly.
I hate you. The one thing I was hoping would be the mic would be, or the camera or something would be so far away that you wouldn't be able to hear all my lines. Now we're going to hear it crystal clear.
But what you're not going to hear is the booing from the audience.
Oh, right. You have a direct feed for the mic only.
Correct.
You don't have an audience
That's
mic.
correct.
So none of these jokes are going to hit. Oh my God. We're not doing this.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. You can actually hear. So I remember you can actually hear some underneath there. We are absolutely doing this.
You want to know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to say a line and then I'm going to hit. Yep. Hello? Hello? Good? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give a huge round of applause to the free alcohol? Yeah.
Open with the free alcohol.
Okay, good.
So you can hear
for those who don't know me, I'm Rick. I've known Eric now for 21 years. He's actually been staying with my new wife and I, and he actually gave the best man speech at my wedding. You were living with us at the time?
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Right after I went down before our wedding to start the audio production program at AI. And so I was living with you guys for 6 months to launch the program, came up, got married. Your wedding. We left the next day. Yes. While we were planning, I was down there. We left the next day after the wedding to move us down back down to Florida. Eric now for 21 years. He's actually been staying with my new wife and I, and he actually gave the best man speech at my wedding. So when writing this, I had one thing in mind, payback. He's been living with us, and it's great because it's kind of like having a live-in. Yeah, it's not a great line. You gotta laugh. Yeah, but it's so like. Now I'm going to critique the. See, this is what I'm not supposed to be doing, is critiquing the writing of it. But that's such an obvious joke. You can hear how nervous you are. Is what I think is really interesting. You can. I've already said like 10 times. You're definitely nervous. At my wedding. So when writing this, I had one thing in mind, payback. He's been living with us, and it's great because it's kind of like having a live-in plumber, electrician, a computer technician, a gourmet chef, which is why I look like I'm pregnant. Self-deprecating. Good start. Good start. Leon shows up again. Why I look like I'm pregnant. I do have to admit, it's kind of sad knowing that you're going to leave. Mr. and Mrs. Yacklin, our boy, is leaving the nest. Yeah. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the parents and the family of the newlyweds, to the Yacklins, who I've known for years and loved. As if you guys didn't have enough, here is another daughter for you. It's good. And I have 4 sisters. To the Campbells, who I just met, and excuse my language, but damn, you guys are fun. You guys raised a beautiful daughter who's obviously creative. She's extremely generous, and you guys get Eric. So sorry. That's not a bad line there. But I'll say this. I'm actually happier hearing this that I didn't make it all about me, which I tend to do. Nice job, buddy. You guys raised a beautiful daughter who's obviously creative. She's extremely generous, and you guys get Eric. So sorry. Everyone was nice to him. I gotta, whatever. All right. But we are here to celebrate you guys. Little crowd work. Some people call her Bear. I call her the angel who made it so Eric will finally move out of my house. Probably should shorten that up a bit. It's not a bad line. Nope, you call her the angel. Yeah. Probably should shorten that up a bit. When you look at Carrie and Eric, especially how beautiful she looks tonight, especially on a night like this, you guys are probably wondering the same things I am. Does she lose a bet? Ooh. No? Zinger. Yeah. There it is. All right. As you can probably tell. The old, that didn't go over well. I'm going to leave it with an all right. Dude, I almost puked. Dude, I need a minute, dude.
Oh my god, dude! All the nerves came back up when that didn't hit. Dude, I literally have tears. I have those throw up tears.
Oh my god,
dude! I need a minute. I honestly, I think I need a minute.
Oh my god. Oh, this is
dude. All the nerves just came back.
You're being too harsh on yourself. You're being too harsh on yourself.
I know, but you put
this is your this is your
honestly, like I put myself back in that moment when you're there. You're already nervous.
This is your
and
this is your
I
cringe.
thought that was a good line.
This is your cringe
I thought that was
factor.
a good line, and no one laughed. And my follow up was, "All right,
all right." Oh, brilliant!
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
you did some crowd work there. You were. You're doing great, buddy.
I hope Steve doesn't listen to this podcast because I talked about how I was a good writer but not a good performer. That's not good writing.
That's not fair. That's not fair. This is a long time ago. This is way before you were OCD.
It was a bet.
Yeah, that's true.
No. Yeah. All right. As you can probably tell, Eric and I have a unique relationship. Being best friends, we don't really like each other. We actually argue all the time. We barely see eye to eye.
That's true today. You want what's funny? Jenny Sis wrote, she's like, it's nice to see you two are still close. And I was like, he sucks. That's just all I wrote. So that line still.
This is legitimate. It's legitimate. We argue like crazy.
As you can probably tell, Eric and I have a unique relationship. Being best friends, we don't really like each other. We actually argue all the time. We barely see eye to eye. We're kind of like the two old guys in the balcony of the Muppet Show, only I still have my hair.
Ooh.
No. Oh, boo!
Oh, that's the boo!
Speaking of hair, Mr. Atkins,
That's the boo!
I got booed for calling you because you had a big bald spot.
I did.
You had a big bald spot that day.
I at least had hair in my head. Oh,
That's true.
That's...
Wait, let me see. I may have rewound too much, but
we actually argue all the time. We barely see eye to eye. We're kind of like the two old guys in the balcony of the Muppet Show.
That was great.
Only I still have my hair.
That was wonderful.
Oh, boo! Yeah. Speaking of hair, Mr. Yacklin stole a little bit of this thunder, but you can always tell what Eric was into by his hairstyle. The high school years were plagued by The Highlander.
True.
The motion picture with Sean Connery. Yeah, not that one. He actually liked the television show. You know, the one that was on Channel 20 at midnight on a Sunday? Oh, you don't know it? Well, it's probably because you have a life.
Pause.
So, but it was weird because he had...
Pause. That's one of Mac's, shout out to Mac Rogers, one of Mac's favorite lines about, of the best man speech. This is one of his favorite best man speeches. He loved the Highlander line. Yeah, not the one with Sean Connery.
And the sword?
That one. He actually liked the television show. You know, the one that was on Channel 20 at midnight on a Sunday? Oh, you don't know it? Well, it's probably because you have a life. So, but it was weird because he had the long hair and he had a sword.
Still have that
sword. I thought that would get a little bit more laughs. No? All right. But one year...
Just playing off that crowd, buddy.
Little do they know that 16 years later is going to get a big laugh from me.
And he had a sword. A sword. I thought that would get a little bit more laughs. No? All right. But one year, he went to the Highlander convention. He had a trench coat and a sword and long hair. He actually took Amanda. I was supposed to go. He was going to drag me there, but luckily one of my family members died, so didn't have to go. Oh, yeah, boo, yeah.
Oh, this was it.
That's the boo.
That's the boo. Oh,
I forgot. The problem with this is my mom doesn't remember this. She was at your wedding, and so is my aunt. And now I'm going to do the questions. Is that true? And the answer is yes. I didn't go to the Highlander convention because someone died. And now the whole thing is going to be the fact that I said, luckily, someone died. Oh, I'm going to have to do some explaining.
Oh, okay. It's comedic gold, though. It's a good joke.
It's a good joke if it wasn't a best man speech and some of the family members affected by that death were in the audience.
But not the majority. You played the majority.
Which the fact that it got booed by that many people.
Oh.
Sword and long hair. He actually took Amanda. I was supposed to go. He was going to drag me there, but luckily one of my family members died, so I didn't have to go. Oh, yeah, boo. Yeah, all right, whatever.
It should have been. See, I went angry there. I should have been like,
Oh, yeah,
why
whatever.
are you booing? You didn't know which family member.
If only we could rewrite history.
Oh, was that in bad taste?
We're 3 minutes
My
in.
bad. I did read this speech to a couple people, and they were like, how can you say this about your best friend? Let me tell you this story, and here you'll probably figure out why.
Oh.
I was at the Acklins once, and he gave me a wedgie because it was Tuesday. And I went running home and changed the elastic, which was all I had left, and put on new underwear. And went back there, and he gave me another one.
We told this story on the
So
podcast.
I head back home, change my underwear, and head back there. And you wanted to take a guess what happened? I got the last laugh, though, because I didn't have any underwear on. In writing this, I think there's a metaphor in there.
Twist, yeah.
Twist ending.
Twist ending,
That's
yeah.
not bad.
I think
So the-
Sixth Sense came out already, and I was inspired.
The wedgie thing did happen. The third round didn't
did.
happen, but the second
Third
round
round did not.
The second round the same day it did happen. It was a.
That's right.
bad
Yeah, we
day.
told that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Unless we cut it
Did
out.
it?
Maybe
I think we cut it out.
Who-
I
I
think-
don't know.
I think we
Really?
cut it out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, probably rightfully so.
Head back home, change my underwear, and head back there. And you wanted to take a guess what happened? I got the last laugh, though, because I didn't have any underwear on.
Got a good laugh.
In writing this, I think there's a metaphor in there. I don't know what it is, though.
I'm not smart enough to figure it
Again,
out. Should have been the
he gave the
line.
best man speech at my wedding, so. And just to let you know, I carefully timed this out, Eric, so that it would be half the length of your best man speech, so we got about 45 minutes left.
Rip it on my speech length.
In writing this speech and reflecting, I started to wonder why we've been friends for so long, and why has anyone been friends with you? And what I've come up with Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, you did.
See, I should have let that joke go.
You did, yeah.
Instead, but I probably didn't mean it like that. I probably meant it like, when wondering why people are friends with people, like that's probably how. But
That's better. The put down's
I
better.
stepped on the line.
Yeah,
it is, but I didn't mean it. So see, this is where I should go back and rewrite.
In writing this speech and reflecting, I started to wonder why we've been friends for so long, and why has anyone been friends with you? And what I've come up with Oh, I didn't mean it like that. No, the reason I came up with why everyone is friends with you is you're incredibly hot sisters.
Wow. Oh, you just leaned right into that one. So this was a thing. This was a thing that when
This is everyone was at your house with your sisters.
it was non-coincidence that friends
No.
like to come over and play basketball at my
No.
house and used to hang out at our house. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, all the sisters right there. You just leaned right into it.
Lean right into it with your parents staring at me.
And your wife.
Yeah, my new wife, 9 months in or whatever it was.
5. You only made it 5.
5 months in.
Oh,
5 months in.
wow.
No, the reason I came up with why everyone is friends with you is you're incredibly hot sisters.
Got applause.
Applause, great.
Nicely done.
They know.
My wife is still here, by the way, so that's thumbs up on that. That's why I liked you, but you liked me because my mom had sugar cereal allowed in the house.
That's true. That's a solid point. Diane had mom.
It's a real thing.
Good job on building the foundation for Eric and Maya's relationship based on Frosted Flakes. The only reason we're still friends now is because I had sugar smacks.
Sugar bombs and all the good stuff.
Regardless of the Acklins only having Cheerios, I spent a lot of nights over there, which seemed like every night.
And Wheaties.
And what I've noticed over the years, a couple things. One, the Acklins are like the Cleavers. They would take in the neighborhood kids and make them work. So maybe it's more like a sweatshop. I don't know, but they
if I didn't have multiple friends that to this day still bring up the fact that we had to strip the varnish off the
chairs
kitchen
and the
table.
table?
Yeah, the chairs and the table. That and my dad used to threaten that when they put their feet on it, if he caught him doing it again, you had to be on the list to help out next time we had to revarnish the whole thing again.
Yep. I was there every time because my feet would. It's just natural for your feet to touch the bottom of a table.
Yeah,
it's not like it didn't have legs; it had a center.
You're still on the list. He's got the list, and it's going to happen someday.
I
so
know,
you're
man.
going to get a call.
It's a center. I'm 6'4", so when I sit, where am I putting my legs?
It sounds like a you problem. You're on the list.
I know, but there was always a plate of food with your name on it, literally.
That's true.
You know, and there was always a place to sleep, mandatory homework sessions from 6 to 9.
Thank you, Verna.
I think it was, which meant I left at 5:30. So,
I'm done.
and Mr. and Miss Yakin was really nice growing up in your house because you guys have like 30 kids of your own, and there's always 10 over there, so we can always get into shenanigans. It's great.
Shenanigans.
But Saturdays were the best part. That was chore day.
Saturday's work day.
Best part was that I didn't have to be there, which is probably why I don't know why you guys rotate tires every 2 weeks. No. Have anyone ever?
All right, we said shenanigans, sweatshop, and rotate tires, and a best man speech.
Probably why I don't know why you guys rotate tires every 2 weeks. No. Have anyone ever heard a rotating tire joke in a wedding speech?
You got meta.
You didn't have to do chores today. Well, I mean, we had to hang these, but you didn't really have to do chores. If I've known that just having a wedding would make it so we didn't get out of chores, you should have done this sooner.
Way to get out of work, buddy. Oh, somebody made a comment.
Wait.
I don't know.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know.
I've known that just
That might have
having
been
a wedding would make it so we didn't get out of
when
chores.
I
You should have
commented.
done this sooner.
Yeah, you comment. What'd you say?
Something about you did about as much today as you did back then. So you did you did the crowd.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
That was me sitting at the table. I had to roast you.
You didn't have to do chores today. Well, I mean, we had to hang these, but you didn't really have to do chores. If I've known that just having a wedding would make it so we didn't get out of chores, you should have done this sooner.
Yeah.
Wait.
Here we go.
I got
I held this one up.
I hung this one up.
Yeah. Just to let you know, for the longest time, I was the best thing that ever happened to Eric. And
It's all about you, buddy.
and then he met Carrie. And by met, I mean stalk. And by stalk, I mean that creepy, oh, you showed up here too?
That's true.
I mean, wasn't that creepy? He didn't
That's a
hide in
true
the bush.
story.
It is a true story. We can get into that.
Yeah, we were talking about how nervous I was and
Yeah.
stuff. I remember you like calling me like, hey, where you at? He's like, I'm sitting outside Starbucks. Are you going to go in? I don't know.
So there is a stalking element in fun that exists with. We won't get into it at this point, but
but in all, and it's, we say stalking, it wasn't. And
No.
it was that you were nervous as I was. When you meet someone that you want to be with, you get nervous.
So the really quick of it is like I actually saw her for the first time. She made me a drink. This is when I first moved back up to Michigan. Within a couple of days, I went to Starbucks. She served me a drink. I thought she was adorable, and I went and sat down in the cafe to do some writing, and I overheard her talking to a friend about online dating and all that kind of stuff. And she had mentioned that she had a profile on one of the sites. And so I just went home and jumped on and made a profile and then found her on there and then sent a note. And I was like, hey, do you by chance work at Starbucks? And like, okay, that was like my in that way to start some back and forth. That then led to here we are.
Stalk, and by stalk, I mean that creepy, oh, you showed up here too? I mean, it wasn't that creepy. He didn't hide in the bushes or anything. Mr. Yakin had really good binoculars, so he didn't have to. But the weird part about this was that Carrie actually found
another twist. Yeah.
Here's what's great about that. Your dad really did have good binoculars.
It's true. We've used
That's
them.
such an inside joke for me, you, and Maury.
Oh, that's fun. Not anymore. Now it's for the world.
Yeah,
he didn't hide in the bushes or anything. Mr. Yaklin had really good binoculars, so he didn't have to. But the weird part about this was that Carrie actually found it romantic once she found out he was stalking him, which is a little bit creepy. But here we are. And Carrie, you're lucky. You found someone that will listen to you, love you unconditionally, make you laugh and make you cry. You found someone who is smart, not that boring kind of way. In a world where it's not normal, you found a true gentleman. He has 4 sisters, so he'll cry at P.S. I love you. And, but he's still manly enough to enjoy a good beheading in Braveheart.
Oh.
And,
oh, wait, what was that? Sorry.
Back.
In a world where it's not normal, you found a true gentleman. He has 4 sisters, so he'll cry at P.S. I love you. And, but he's still manly enough to enjoy a good beheading in Braveheart. Ooh. And although I'm still getting to know you, I know that he is even luckier. You're extremely talented, creative, and unbelievably generous. Something that we all can aspire to. So I'm happy that you're moving to Florida, so we'll get to know you, and you can come and watch our cats. So that's good.
She loves cats.
But a couple more things. Eric and I used to IM each other when I was down in Miami, and we would do these top 10 lists. And unfortunately, we lost.
I just want to comment on the. It's funny.
The top 10 lists.
Yeah, we used to love top 10 lists.
Sorry,
but I just want to make a comment on your Braveheart reference, because Braveheart is the movie I saw the most. I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast previously.
I mean, in the teens or 20s.
20.
How many times
I saw it 20 times in the theater. That year it came
that's when
out.
I was a manager at the movies.
Correct, because you were there, and every single time I was blown away by it. I didn't really know Mel Gibson at the time. I'd never seen any of his previous movies, The Lethal Weapons or any of that stuff. I didn't really know him, so I looked at him and all I saw was William Wallace. And every single time we ran into a person in our circle that had not seen the movie yet, like, we're going right now, we're doing it. And we just...
It would be, because I was a manager and had keys to the theater, we would do after hours. Sometimes you'd go, because I could give you free tickets, you'd go and watch with the crowd. Yeah. Then other times, like, you haven't seen Braveheart, let's go right now. We literally would drive to the movie theater, open it up.
It's the best.
Yeah, I would put the film on. We'd watch it till like 2 a.m.
Yeah, because it's a 3-hour movie.
There we go.
So that's good. But a couple more things. Eric and I used to IM each other when I was down in Miami, and we would do these top 10 lists. And unfortunately, we lost those top 10 lists when his computer crashed. Even if we didn't, I really couldn't read them now because Mrs. Yaklin's here. But I made a top 10 list of reasons I enjoyed growing up with you. Ooh. So here's my top 10 list. 10, because he'll point out when you're wrong, and more importantly, have the patience to wait until you figure it out for yourself. Number 9, because he would draw an X on your leg and then hit you as hard as he could there. And when you ask, why did you do that? He said, X marks the spot.
X did mark the spot.
100% true. You would do this thing. You do long play sometimes. No. Like so the whole thing was, if they were Charlie horses, right? You would put an X on the leg and punch as hard as you can, and you could hit. And I would always have these big bruises and stuff like that. But you would do this thing, and you do it on the arm too. And you would do this thing. And here's the thing: like, most people would be like, well, why didn't you fight back?
I'm not proud of this.
Right, you were a big time wrestler. Like, you were like one of the best wrestlers in the state of Michigan, and you were always like stronger than everyone and stuff. And so the thing was, there would be days where you would mark the X on our body, and then we were just waiting for it. And you're always like, oh God. And the day would go by, and then you'd come back the next day and just punch you in the arm. And like, what was that for? It's like, X marks the spot.
It does. So I will say I'm not proud of this, but we've had this conversation. I've had this conversation with Carrie. We've had it amongst our friends that we've had for a very, very long time. You know, some of the relationships like you and Tremblay and others that I bullied my friends. I didn't bully people that, like, you know.
No, you didn't. You were like the nicest guy to everyone other than your friends.
It was like my form of expression of love that I would.
Like, we're gonna unpack. We're gonna have to unpack why that is. Next season, tune in. We unpack why Eric has to hurt his friends.
I don't even know where that came from, but I would literally, like, with my finger physically touch and go boop, like on your thigh or on your arm. X marks the spot. X marks the spot, and then they knew it was coming, and I would deliver. You got the ultimate revenge on me though on that, but we'll come back to that.
Oh, we're going to come back when?
We can do it right now. Ready? So when I blew out my knee, right, tore my ACL, my MCL,
I know where
meniscus,
this is going.
all that. I was, and it took
basketball injury.
Basketball injury. Took a chunk out of my femur bone, right? And I had surgery, all sorts of surgeries in there, whatever, ACL reconstruction and all sorts of stuff. And so I ended up being zero weight bearing, and I had massive muscle atrophy. My leg never recovered, right? For like trying to rebuild, or my thigh, my calf, nothing. It's never recovered. But I'm like 5 weeks into my zero weight bearing.
See where this is going?
And we're studying for an exam. We're downstairs at your parents' house. We're studying for an exam, and we're sitting there, and you just go, X marks the spot. You went ba ba smack right into my atrophied thigh that like essentially went straight to the bone. And you're like, take that for all those years. You just like let it all out.
And the thing is I knew you couldn't run after me.
I couldn't.
There was no way if you were healthy, I would ever have done that.
There's nowhere for me
I
to
take
go.
my shots. If you're going to come after the king, you better make sure you get him.
All right, back to the top 10 list.
Draw an X on your leg and then hit you as hard as he could there. And when you ask, why did you do that? He said, X marks the spot.
Not enough
Because we
laughs
had
for
a
that.
place between the two houses where we'd talk every night, look up at the stars. And that was kind of fun. And because you
For a long time, by the way.
It was a real thing. So like
It's a real thing.
That's the kind of
Our houses were, what, 100 yards apart? 200 yards maybe, or whatever it was.
We were like seven. There were like 7 houses between yours and mine. It was on different roads, but you go within the backyards.
You lived in a cul-de-sac, and the thing is to get to your house quicker, I can go through people's backyards. Like we mentioned last week, there's no fences or anything, and you lived on the water, so we can go down there. And then you and I, we would you'd walk me home or whatever, and to at least to this little spot between the houses.
Right. We like met in the middle, like of where, like, so in the backyards in between these two houses was like the middle area, lawn, like it was kind of near the canal that we lived on, which was like kind of a center point between the two houses. And this is one of those things that looking back on childhood that I love, like when you think about, like the innocence of childhood and all that kind of stuff, like we would literally just like lay there in the grass and
talk about life,
dream about the future and talk about life. And to this day,
I remember this. We were like 15 years old. I remember looking up and be like, I want to have a podcast with you one day.
You know what I think about? I guarantee you during the summers, the people in those two houses that were like in bed and they had their windows open because it was hot, listening to all of our stupid conversations.
Shut up, kids.
They never did.
Crazy George was on his lawn yelling at us.
No one ever said anything about it.
No one did.
And we
no, because we were polite and stuff. We would just literally look at the stars. And I will say this, for the longest time, my parents thought we were in a relationship.
That's hilarious.
That's something, because they still think we are.
Well, here
Mom?
we are. How many years later? That's hilarious.
Right,
well, yeah, when you talk about it that way, that makes it seem like we got to go back to the X-ing thing, not the lay under the stars together thing.
That's right. Yeah. Even when you say it, lay under the stars together, we weren't together. You don't have to put the word together. We would. It's not together. It's laying.
We were laying together in the grass.
Yeah,
like that's not better.
You picture the movie, the cover of The Fault with Stars, like two people just looking up. It's not like that. We should just say we would discuss things under the stars. That's better. I should have wrote. I got to rewrite this speech.
All right, go back. Oh boy, this is a good list.
Draw an X on your leg and then hit you as hard as he could there. And when you ask, why did you do that? He said, X marks the spot. Because we had a place between the two houses where we'd talk every night, look up at the stars, and that was kind of fun. And
see, we didn't say lay there. You just added the word lay.
You just added the word term relationship. So
yes, because my parents, well, there's other things too. Sorry, audience, we're cutting this out. We used to sleep in the same bed.
We still do. There are times.
No, we don't. We don't.
We did it at Brandon's. We did it at Brandon's bachelor party in Key West.
That was 20 years ago. Dude, I'm off straight because I might puke.
Oh my god, that's.
Dude, I think it's the combination of nerves, coffee, and my laugh. Like, I'm still getting over COVID, so my laugh has a massive cough to it, and I just feel like I'm gonna puke every time.
And this literally just came up where I was like, when I'm going to be in Dallas, I was like, I'll just get a room with 2 beds. You're like, I'm going to get my own room.
Yeah, we're to the age now. I'm comfortable who I am, life choices I've made.
Yeah, exactly.
Come at me, bro. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, so
All
it was
right.
a twin. Whatever.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine our 2 fat
Wasn't a
asses-
twin.
our two-
Thank God this is the last one of this season.
Oh my god! Oh, I got tears in my eyes. Oh.
Jesus Christ. Can we see if we can make it through this?
Yes.
There's only 2.5 minutes left.
Okay. Top 10 list. All right, here we go.
I'm lightheaded right now.
Because we had a place between the 2 houses where we talk every night, look up at the stars, and that was kind of fun. And because you let me be, actually I'm on number 7, so. Because you let me be part of your family. And I don't really have anything funny to say, except for anyone who's been over the Ackland house knows that they have yams in their freezers from 1983.
Wait,
number
why
6.
is everyone laughing so loud?
It's-
Why is everyone
it's
that
absolutely
one brought
true.
the house down? That brought the house down because you had this. What are those called? The big
Yeah, they're
you lift it. What kind of freezers?
they're floor freezers. I don't know.
Whatever it is. Yeah, you would open it up
the
and
top.
it'd be filled with, like I said, yams, and they'd have like 1985 written on them.
So it's a great. I love that you brought it up in the best man speech. It is a legitimate thing that all my life we used to have a garden at the first house I grew up in, and it was a pretty large garden that we would use to actually sustain and farm the veggies by hand. And each year we would put them all into Tupperware containers and put them in the freezer. And so when you put them in the freezer, you had to put the date on them as to when they were from, like what they were and the year that they were put into the freezer. And there was just some stuff we never got to, and they made it to the move over to the second house, and then there would be things in there from a really long time ago that just turned into this running joke that there were different vegetables and things like that from over a decade ago.
From 1983.
It's a good year. Vintage.
Number 6, no matter the craziness that you had going on, you would always listen, even when you weren't really listening. So. Number 5, because you love the Highlander and you didn't care who knew. Though it is tough to make fun of someone who owns a sword. So.
Still rare.
Number 4, because you know how to rotate tires. And if you notice, that's actually higher than me being in your family. So. And number 3, because we used to do everything together. We were during basketball seasons. We were known as the Bopsy twins.
There it is again.
Which meant a lot to me. That when I got fat, so did you. Number 2, because he actually smiles when he talks about Carrie. It's a genuine, unconditional smile, and I love that. And if you guys want to know what true love is, have Eric talk about Carrie. It's pretty special.
That's nice.
And number 1, because he lets me pull out my yearbook every night, reminisce about a time when we were in shape, didn't have bad knees, wore Z Cavaricis, had all of our hair, and had the world in front of us. And we'd often talk about a day like this where we'd meet the women of our lives and get to spend the rest of our lives together. And one last thing.
Wait, I want to go through.
You brought it up. You brought it back up yourself.
Brought it up again.
The
yeah.
yearbook. There it is again. The yearbook.
There it is. And so we don't have to explain it last time because it was already here. This is why. Z Cavaricis, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. That's fun.
And growing up, this story's a little bit sad the way we look now, but growing up,
Out.
we were about 13 or 14. We were caddying, but we never really made it to the caddy.
Dunkin' Donuts.
We would stop at Dunkin' Donuts on the way. And the holy grail of the donut stop was the "It's Worth the Trip" promotion. And for those who are not familiar with the
real.
It's Worth the Trip promotion, you'd go there, you'd order 6 donuts, and you say, Dunkin' Donuts,
Worth
it's
the
worth the trip, and they give you another 6 free.
Fact. It's a glorious
No,
summer.
I'm not sure you understand. 6 free donuts. No?
Way to lean in.
All right. So my toast is that Carrie and Eric, all of your adventures, your stories, your good times and bad may be worth the trip.
Yay! Look
I
at
threw a
that.
donut joke in there.
You worked in Dunkin'
nice.
Donuts into our speech.
It's worth the trip.
All right, so let's.
What are our takeaways of this?
It's not.
I wanna redo.
They're not. I love your renew your vows so we can redo it. Except our wives would not be okay with it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because we're different now.
We are. It is. It was.
And we
different
know
time.
each other like
It was a different time.
we know each other as married couples now.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have a frame of reference, so it's all like, oh, you guys are gonna be
No,
perfect
I would
together.
just
but
be telling
who
you.
knows?
Oh yeah, I would just be talking about how bad of a dad you are and all that. Yeah. So
I'm surprised, by the way, that I did not bring up the bomb story in the wedding speech.
Oh, you may have, and I told you couldn't, or so there may
yeah,
have wanted to.
You're right. You're right.
You may, it may have
You're right.
that I may have nixed that. You may have been nervous about it and asked me, and I said, don't do that. It'll be a problem. Maybe you're right. You're right. It didn't make the top 10.
Censoring me even back then.
So let's talk about the fact that we're actually wrapping season 1, right? So,
yeah. How do you feel about season 1?
good. That was one of the things I mentioned Donnie earlier. Gave him, a shout out that he brought up that referenced, the fact that I continue to try and step out of my box. Like, this isn't my thing. This isn't the thing I like to do.
Not my thing either.
though. Yeah, I get it. But you're really good at interviews. You're used to
Well,
some
I
of
do
this.
interview. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
you're and so a lot of that is an extension of that. But
Sure.
So I'm happy with it in that regard. I think we have figured some things out. I think we have figured out a little more, flow of trying to get us into some things. And,
Well, what's interesting is how far we've come from the first to this episode, and what we've learned along the way. I found it interesting, like for views, which I like to see the view counter going up and how many people actually right out of the gate. Now, obviously, it's because people like Steve Trevino are helping us promote this and things like that. So,
thanks, Steve.
But we've maintained. So I like that we maintained an audience. So they came because of one reason, stay for another. But I also found that if you look at the interactions, when we tell personal stories, there's more interaction.
There are a lot.
So it's kind of like this balancing act of views versus engagement.
Sure.
And I think we're trying to figure that out. We're going to take this next couple months to figure this out.
Yeah.
Before we come back with season 2 and figure out exactly what this podcast is. I mean, there's parts of the interviews I liked. I like who we interviewed, and we talked about who else we're going to have on these interviews. So I like that, but I also do want to pull in people from our past and have them tell stories from there.
I was game from day one. I think that's relatable. I think so too. I think there's a level of that. So, and it's all in fun, right? So we just continue with the experiment and bring in some folks. I'm excited to bring in some folks that you and I have talked about from our past. I know our friends.
There's some good ones
that I think could be very fun.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I'm looking forward to having this break so that I don't have to look at the comments and say, "Hey, you messed up this word," or "Where's your Miami hat this week?" Talking to you, Tim Kaplan.
I've enjoyed this so far. So I've
Me too.
From going into it as like, let's just do something fun. Let's figure it out. And props to you for putting the time in to edit all this stuff, right? Ideally, we can get this to a point where, we can bring in a producer and bring in an editor and, and have more fun with it from a content perspective. And
I'll say this. Thank you to everyone that has listened and gone through this with us.
Sure.
We thoroughly enjoy the comments, even the bad ones. I joke about it. But a big shout out to everyone who's commented, listened, and we super appreciate it.
Yeah, I love the support. Love the comments. Love the likes. Yeah, it's been cool.
And this is season 1.
Are we done?
Good night, everybody.